So, the few places that I visited are absolutely incredible. I think the thing that moved me the most was the tribal museum because the way the design aesthetics sort of have evolved globally and the way I believe the future sort of idea of the future or futuristic cities or imagined futures is tribal. And I feel like what Madhya Pradesh has been able to retain is the sort of old culture, the old beauty of tribal art or sort of natural vistas, which I think are going to be really important in telling futuristic stories. And I don't only mean from telling a heartland story from India or a beautiful story set in a smaller town in India. I even mean from like a sci-fi perspective or from something totally different on a genre or horror or supernatural sci-fi or any of that. I feel like we have to draw from our culture, and what Madhya Pradesh has been able to retain is a very deep and strong rooted culture which hasn't been altered by Western influence, which for a place like Bombay, for example, we've sort of lost that sense of what Bombay was in a pre-colonial era. So I think as we go forward and as we move away from the colonial narrative and as we stop trying to service Western narratives, it's going to be really important to look inwards and look backwards and look at where we came from to create an imagined future, to imagine a future where both the culture that existed as well as the culture that will exist live in harmony. And I feel like Madhya Pradesh has been the last 2-3 days that I've been here, there's been a perfect representation of that. I think it's incredible. I do a lot of international co-productions, so we do some service production in India as well. And every time a producer from either Europe or the United States, Canada or England, when they look at filming in a new location away from their home country, they always look at the kind of incentives that they give. So the Madhya Pradesh state incentive combined with the FFO and the NFDC's India incentive, I think it makes it really lucrative for producers to set their stories in India. I also feel that there's a general shift from the global west and the global north to the Asian South and specifically India. Even if you just look at the Oscars this year, we had a film that was shortlisted, but there was a bunch of films that were nominated, films that won. And I think that the whole world has sort of opened up and woken up to the idea that there's going to be immense global stories told from India. And they're going to need international producers, they're going to need international studios and streamers and stars. But they'll be rooted in India and they'll be rooted in Indian cities, towns and villages. And I think that the incentives that have come for even international co-productions that have been put in by the government, it's absolutely incredible. Like I, for one, I'm running a bunch of productions right now, but something that we're setting up to film early next year. We were looking at filming in some neighboring states in the north, but after I came here and I saw the kind of support that we're getting from the tourism department, from the film facilitation team, it's like I sent out an email today, to a bunch of my producers, co-producers, line producers, and said we really have to look at shifting it here. And what I didn't know and what I've understood over the last couple of days is that you can find every different kind of terrain in the country. Whatever you can find all over the country, you can find in one state. So why not then set stories and find stories to be told in this geographic location? I've not been able to interact with as many people as I'd like to, but the few people that I have interacted with, they've been absolutely hospitable. They've been really motivated to get things done efficiently. I think for a film producer, efficiency is the most important thing because every minute on set, every minute lost is, sometimes can be thousands of dollars or, lakhs of rupees. So having the ability to have such efficient coordination, such efficient relationships within both the government as well as, with the drivers, for example, that have been taking us around, transport. I feel like all of those small things incrementally add up. So I would say that the intention and the motivation of the people is what's exciting me the most, but also the ability to stick to one's heritage and to find so many different types of colors, art forms, vibrancy in one state is perhaps the most interesting thing for me.